Hello. Academic Staff Union. Hello and welcome to Clearview News Desk. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines. Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, frowns at increasing number of first-class graduates churned out annually by private universities in the country. Doubts hang over operations of Port Harcourt refinery. Nigerians react over President and Chief of Staff handshake video. Real or fake? I'm Gloria Atta with these and more. Welcome. Clearview News Desk has yet to come out of the shocking news that the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has reportedly been holding the founder of the Foundation for Investigative Journalism, Fisayo Soyombo, in detention for 3 days. In a statement shared on its X handle on Friday, November 29, FIJ described the detention as unjust and an attack on press freedom. It said, "Journalism is not a crime." The organization called for immediate action for his release using the hashtag #FreeFishayoNow to amplify its demand. In another post, FIJ stated that all his devices have been seized, calling on the Nigerian Army to preserve his evidence and truth. According to FIJ, this is not the first time Soyombo, a renowned investigative journalist and editor, has been detained for his journalism work, adding that Soyombo has long been a target for scrutiny by powerful figures, as he is known for exposing corruption and systemic failures. However, reports just reaching our newsroom say the Nigerian Army has confirmed that investigative journalism Fisayo Soyombo was arrested at an illegal oil bunkering site. The Army statement came in response to public outcry over his detention. Confirming Soyombo's arrest in a statement this Friday, the acting deputy director of 6th Division Army Public Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Danjuma, explained that the operations leading to Soyombo's detention followed intelligence regarding a notorious gang of oil thieves involved in pipeline sabotage and illegal oil connections in the region. Danjuma stated that the suspects arrested at the site, including Soyombo, are currently undergoing preliminary investigations to determine their level of involvement. Now to the big question. Is Soyombo now an oil thief? Meanwhile, Media Rights Agenda (MRA) has this Friday condemned the reported arrest and detention of Mr. Fisayo Soyombo, founder and editor-in-chief of the Foundation for Investigative Journalism, by the 6th Division of the Nigerian Army in Port Harcourt, and called for his immediate and unconditional release. Describing Soyombo's arrest and detention over the last 3 days as illegal and unconstitutional, MRA called on the federal government to put an immediate end to the persistent and widespread abuse of powers by government agencies in disregard of the Constitution and violation of basic principles of the rule of law. In a statement issued in Lagos, MRA's program officer John Badamosi argued that the Nigerian Army lacks the authority to arrest or detain civilians, stating that in any event, it is a clear requirement under the Constitution that anyone who is deprived of his personal liberty upon reasonable suspicion of having committed a criminal offense must be charged to court within 24 hours. Both of these fundamental legal guarantees, according to the statement, have been violated in the arrest and detention of Soyombo by the Nigerian Army. But Amosi insisted that even if the journalist has committed any crime warranting his arrest, it is not the duty of the Nigerian Army to carry out the arrest, as they have no authority under the Constitution, the Nigerian Army Act, or any other law to arrest civilians. MRA is therefore calling on President Bola Tinubu as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces to restrain the Nigerian army and other military authorities to desist from this recurring abuse of their powers and disregard for the constitution and other laws as they continue to portray Nigeria as a lawless society. And now to security. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) FCT Command has apprehended 4 suspects in connection with the vandalism of street light poles in various locations within the Federal Capital Territory. The suspects were arrested by the NSCDC's covert operatives and the Critical National Assets and Infrastructure Tactical Team during a routine night patrol. Exhibits recovered from the suspects include 1 medium-sized traffic light pole and 2 gigantic traffic light poles. The suspects are currently undergoing investigation, and the NSCDC has assured that due diligence will be followed to ensure that justice is served.
The suspects are 1. Japhet Adams, male, 21 years of age, from Zango Kataf local government area of Kaduna State, and his accomplice, Friday Ojo, is male, 51 years of age, from Ojo local government area of Lagos State. They were both arrested by my men around 1 a.m. on Wednesday, 27/11/2024, around Eden Garden in Utako area of the Federal Capital Territory, vandalizing the medium streetlight poles. Ibrahim Aliyu, male, 19 years old, from Nasarawa local government, Kano State, and Hassan Abdullahi, 23 years, from Zaria local government of Kaduna State, were caught in the act of vandalizing the gigantic streetlight poles along Moshood Abiola Stadium, National Hospital Junction, at about 2 a.m. on Thursday, 28/11/2024. The suspects are currently undergoing investigation, and due diligence will be followed in ensuring that justice is served. I hereby restate the determination of the FCT Command to continue to fight towards ensuring that all critical infrastructure which are our common heritage are preserved under my watch. Consequently, I wish to assure the FCT Minister, His Excellency Nyesom Wike, and all residents of the Federal Capital Territory that we remain committed to fulfilling our promise to bring justice to these unrelenting vandals who persist in perpetrating evil against our national asset for their selfish gain. It may also interest you to know that my men are 24-hour surveillance and patrol of the metropolis and the surrounding suburbs of the FCT, protecting our national assets and infrastructure. And we are not going to renege on our efforts until these enemies of the state are completely flushed out. Against vandals in the Federal Capital Territory, which is also the seat of power. And I'm not going back on my earlier pronouncement that the vandals either repent, relocate, or face the wrath of the law.
The NSCDC FCT Command has reiterated its commitment to protecting critical national assets and infrastructure within the Federal Capital Territory. The command has also warned that the FCT is a no-go area for vandals, scavengers, and hoodlums, and has solicited the cooperation of residents in providing credible intelligence information to assist in their efforts. Meanwhile, 135 criminals have been killed and 185 others arrested by troops of the Nigerian Armed Forces stationed across different parts of the country in the last 1 week. The information was disclosed by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, in a statement made available to Clearview News Desk this Friday. He added that the troops also arrested 61 perpetrators of oil theft and rescued 120 29 kidnapped hostages. In the South-South Operational Theatre, troops denied the oil theft of the estimated sum of 889,233,000. The military high command noted that a total of 113 assorted weapons and 2,415 assorted ammunition were recovered from the criminals, including 72 AK-47 rifles, 11 fabricated rifles, 15 Dane guns, 3 locally made pistols, among other light and heavy weapons. The statement added that reports from the North Central Operational Theatres indicate a mass surrender of high-profile terrorists and their leaders due to non-kinetic collaborative efforts of troops and other relevant stakeholders. Away from security, reactions have continued to trail an incident involving Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu and his Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila over a trending online video in which the President was seen having a handshake with government officials at the airport shortly before leaving the country, but refused to shake hands with his Chief of Staff. The President's action has since generated doubt about the cordial relationship existing between the President and his Chief of Staff. Recall the President had once deemed it expedient to defend and as well reiterate his confidence in Gbajabiamila at the peak of the attacks against him during the Federal Executive Council meetings in October 2023, which Tinubu also set the ground rules for those eligible to attend the meeting. Nigerians are asking, could anything have gone wrong in their relationship recently? It is no longer news that the operational capacity of the newly rehabilitated Port Harcourt refining company has come under intense scrutiny recently. This followed the claims that petroleum products loaded from the facility on Tuesday were not newly refined but products stored in the storage tanks of the facility in the last 3 years. This controversy is typical of the refinery, which has been plagued by a history of delays and setbacks, including 7 failed deadlines for the commencement of operations at the plant. Against this backdrop, a statement by the NLC President, Joe Ajaero, has also cast doubt on the legitimacy of the operation of the Port Harcourt refinery, which the NNPCL claims has begun operation.
If you move into 2025 with carryover of the problems of 2024, the problem will continue to resonate. So I think, and I was thinking that was the whole essence of this. You say we reached agreement A, it has not been implemented. We reached B, it has not been implemented. What are the obstacles? For instance, if we had agreement with you that Port Harcourt refinery will work, if you say it has started working, it is incumbent on you for us to visit there and watch it produce. These are one of the things, because if I from here now say I'm not sure it's working, it will seem as if there is controversy around it. We should not allow such opportunity, such misgiving and misinformation to keep on moving about.
The Labour Correspondent Association of Nigeria, LACAN, in collaboration with the International Labour Organization, have converged critical stakeholders in the labour sector on its maiden edition media parley, with the theme, The Outcome of Labor and Government Relations in the Last 1 Year. Discussions on key labor, employment and productivity issues, success and projection. The Labor Correspondent Association of Nigeria chairman Patrick Abulu said the media parley is a platform created by International Labour Organization and other stakeholders in the labor sector to give presentation on their activities with the Nigerian government and labor unions in the last 1 year. Clearview News Imifonokon has the details.
The chairman of Labour Correspondents Association of Nigeria, LACAN, Patrick Apulu, said the maiden edition of Media Parley with stakeholders in the labour, employment, productivity and social security sectors aims to foster a deeper understanding of the issues affecting workers and employers and to explore ways in which the media can work together to promote fair labour practices and improve the overall employment landscape in Nigeria.
This program will afford the International Labour Organization, ILO, which is partnering with us in this maiden edition, to give us a presentation on their activities with the Nigerian government and labour unions in the last 1 year.
So I'm very happy that we are here this morning to have this conversation and just, speak about the journey so far and hopefully what is the journey going to look like in 2025 and the kind of support and contribution that we are expecting from our partners.
While the NLC president, Joe Ajaro, has stated the Nigerian government to come for a debate on industrial matters, other stakeholders give presentations on the activities with the Nigerian government and labor unions in the last 365 days.
Let the Minister of Labour or whosoever other state of ministry come out for us to have a debate on how we have managed industrial relation environment for this 1 year. This will assist us to project what will happen in 2025. We are going to learn our lessons, take some notes in the mistakes we have made in the past, and correct it before we move on.
Let us also look at the area of obnoxious policies. Where government will come up with no work, no pay, without also looking at no pay, no work. And if these are policies that you think that can work, a policy that failed during the military era, and you still feel that it can work under democracy, I think we still have to have a conversation to see how workability is done.
Labour activists have been doing a lot for this country right from the time of independence. You are underreporting us, including those who are here. I'm happy that our president started it here. In fact, what he didn't do was to ask us to protest. We would have carried the protest down here and said, look, this cannot continue.
We were heavily involved at the discussion of the minimum wage. And I assure you that no NECA company, even before the minimum wage discussion came up, not one NECA company was paying below what the current minimum wage is now. We're not paying any staff, NECA member companies. We're already overboard.
We have been able to breed and maintain industrial peace and harmony.
I said to Nigerians that we can create 1 million jobs and without penny from the government. I'm now repeating it before this party and before you. I have the idea, I have the partners, and without penny from the government, let us put hands together and get this done by National Productivity Center.
We want to engage a total of 93,731 unskilled and unemployed persons across Nigeria. And we intend to expose them to skills training in vocational, agricultural, and entrepreneurial skill sets, as well as activities within the special public works sector.
According to the LACAN chairman, Patrick Apulu, the media parley is the maiden edition with stakeholders in the labor, employment, productivity, and social security sectors. Imefonokon reporting for Clearview News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the news on Clearview News Desk. We will be back after this break. Stay with us.
We break the news.
This is Christ Embassy.
Recollect, we were the first to break this. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State has approved the appointment of 3 second-class emirs. And this?
Erasmus is the most successful program of the European Union to support education and youth.
And this?
Fubara is not an ungrateful person.
And more.
Tension is currently mounting in Rivers State. The planned arraignment of Yaya Bello.
Across our platforms. Subscribe now and you will be receiving our notifications and never left out as the news breaks on Clearview.
You're welcome back. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has frowned at the increasing number of first-class graduates churned out annually by private universities in the country. The ASU National President, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke, raised the concern on Thursday at an event organized by the body in honor of Professor Andy Egunyenga's successful tenure as Vice-Chancellor of Delta State University, DELSU. The event took place at the DELSU campus, Abraka, Eitope East local government area of Delta State. Oshodeke said that if public universities adopt the same practice without regulation, it could lead to the decline of genuine academic pursuits. According to him, primary and secondary schools nowadays are producing graduates with excellent grades but insufficient knowledge. The union leader also decried what he called the mass exodus of skilled Nigerian workers to nations perceived to be offering better work and living conditions. He said that incidents like building collapse in the country indicated there were significant issues within the nation's institutions. According to him, the unions must return to the front line for a renewed phase of their struggle. The Nigeria Tobacco Control Alliance, NTCA, and the Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA, have called on the federal government and lawmakers to ensure that any amendments to the National Tobacco Control Act 2015 prioritizes public health over corporate interests. At a press conference on Wednesday in Abuja, the groups emphasized the need for robust regulatory measures to address the rising threat of traditional and emerging tobacco products in the country. We have the details. Stakeholders in the Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa, CAPA, and the Nigeria Tobacco Control Alliance, NTCA, have called on the federal government and lawmakers to strengthen laws and policies guiding tobacco control so as to sustain efforts towards putting an end to the scourge in the country. The call is coming on the heels of recent developments regarding bills introduced at the National Assembly aimed at reviewing Nigeria's Tobacco Control Act 2015. At a press conference on Wednesday in Abuja, the groups maintained that any review to the Act must be in the interest of public health, as well as closing existing gaps and regulatory oversights the tobacco industry has been using to exploit the vulnerable population in Nigeria.
We want to again say that public health policies and the tobacco industry does not miss. The government should ensure that there are enough safeguards to protect our public health policies from the undue interference of the tobacco industry.
The NTCA and CAPA must say that we are deeply concerned about the increasing and inappropriate interactions between government actors and the tobacco industry. Despite the clear provisions of Section 18 of the National Tobacco Control Act, which prohibits the tobacco industry from influencing public health policies, forming partnerships with public institutions, or engaging in youth initiatives disguised as CSRO activities, the reverse is the case. Every day, we see it on the news and even online. The tobacco industry continues to partner with state governments openly. In fact, you read on the news and you see the tobacco industry also partnering with the National Youth Service Corps and even universities, which is very troubling. So we are urging the Nigerian government, public health authorities, and government functionaries, including legislators, to rigorously respect Section 18 of the National Tobacco Control Act, ensuring that all interactions with the tobacco industry are transparent and strictly regulatory. By addressing these violations and adopting amendments that genuinely prioritize public health, Nigeria can align its tobacco control framework with global best practices, protect its citizens, and hold the tobacco industry accountable.
We are saying that the Ministry of Health should be strengthened more to do their work. TCU should be strengthened more to do their work, instead of trying to take tobacco control to a particular agency of government. And I don't know any agency that maybe the framers of the law want to take it to that is not member of NATOC. If you are a member of NATOC, you are bringing your own contribution, your own expertise as an agency to control tobacco effectively.
When we talk about tobacco, it's not just about smoking. We cannot overemphasize this. We're talking about the Tobacco Control Act deals with the tobacco use. It deals with exposure to tobacco and its fumes. It deals with access to tobacco and all its allied products. It deals with the promotion and business of tobacco. So when you take a bill that then begins to narrow down to smoking, that is bringing it down to about 20% of what we currently have, which is even not yet enough. And so that, like my colleagues have said, the HB 1151 or whatever the numbers may be, needs to be completely jettisoned because it does not do us any favors.
Now, when you go on TikTok, you go on Facebook, you go on Instagram, you will see content curated to market certain products, tobacco products like vapes and all of that. And this is being sponsored by the industry. They know because there is no regulation within that space, and they are taking full advantage of that. Aside from that, they're also working with the so-called celebrities that we have in our country now, who are also not knowledgeable about the impact of what they have partnering on or with. So we would like to see a law that is paying more attention to marketing this product as it affects young people in particular, because these are the demographics that you will find in these spaces.
The tobacco epidemic remains one of the biggest public health threats across the world, as it accounts for more than 8 million deaths annually. Nigeria, like many other countries, is grappling with tobacco-related diseases as 28,000 citizens die every year due to complications arising from tobacco use. In a bid to address these challenges, the federal government had ratified the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control in 2005 and enacted the National Tobacco Act 2015, signaling its commitment to end tobacco consumption in the country. And that's the news. But before we go, a recap of the top stories. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has frowned at the increasing numbers of first-class graduates churned out annually by private universities in the country. The operational capacity of the newly rehabilitated Port Harcourt Refining Company has come under intense scrutiny by Nigerians recently. We also told you that Nigerians have continued to question current state of the relationship between President Tinubu and his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, after a video surfaced online showing the president shunning a handshake from his Chief of Staff at the airport during his departure from the country recently. You can follow up on latest events and happenings around you via our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at Clearview News Desk, or via our handle on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Clearview Online. Many thanks for joining us. I am Gloria Atta. Bye for now.